Hello everyone, I am Dr. Nalini Bansal and today we'll be discussing an approach to a case of colon biopsies and how are able to identify what is an active colitis. So as we see here, these are the bits from a colonic mucosa, and the things that we are going to look for is at the surface epithelium. So how is the surface epithelium like? Like in this case here we could see that the surface epithelium is intact, whereas in this area we could see that it is being breached at certain areas, at certain places. Like here we could see a breach in the surface epithelium. Now beneath the surface epithelium we have the lamina propria. So this entire thing that we are seeing here is the lamina propria. This lamina propria is composed of some inflammatory cells, and these are the colonic glands which form the lamina propria. So within the lamina propria we have colonic glands and this little sprinklage of the lymphoplasmacytic cells. So these are the things that we will generally see whenever we are getting any colon biopsy. So again, now coming back to the tissue that we are seeing here. So we have got few bits of colonic mucosa. So this is one of the bit where we could see that the surface is being eroded at certain places. So like in this particular bit, we could see that this is being eroded at this area, and this area of erosion is being covered by abundant ulcer slough on the surface. Here again, we could see that there are erosions on the epithelial surface, and these are being covered by abundant ulcer slough. So we could see that there are presence of these benign ulceration on the colonic mucosa. Now coming down into the lamina propria, we see that most of the colonic glands which we see in the lamina propria, they're showing a relatively preserved architecture, and there isn't much significant distortion of the crypt architecture. So the crypts that we are seeing in the lamina propria, they could be cut in a cross section or in a longitudinal fashion. So like this is the crypt which is being cut in the longitudinal fashion, and these are the crypts which are cut in the cross section. So if they are arranged parallel to each other, so suppose if we have a crypt here, here again, so this is the normal crypt architecture. Similarly, if they are being cut in the cross section and we see that most of the crypts are round, that means again that they are showing a relatively normal architecture. So here we could see that the crypt architecture is largely preserved, but we are seeing certain areas of ulceration on the surface, and here again we could see that there is ulcer slough on the surface. So now, once we know that the colonic biopsy is showing an ulcerated area, the next thing that we are going to look for is into the lamina propria. So how much is the lamina propria inflammatory cells are increased? Whether they are increased significantly, whether there is a moderate expansion or a severe expansion. So a little amount of lymphoplasmacytic cells, they are normally present within the lamina propria. But here in this case, we see that it is at least a moderate increase in the lymphoplasmacytic cells. A little amount of lymphoid aggregate, they could be normal when you're seeing the biopsies from the rectal tissue. So in a colonic biopsy, if you're getting biopsies from the rectum, occasional non-reactive lymphoid follicles, they are normal within the colonic mucosa, and that is just a normal finding. So here again, this is a normal finding, but we see a moderate increase in the lamina propria inflammatory cells. And in addition to lymphoplasmacytic cells, we could also see that there is an admixture of polymorphs as well as eosinophils. Now, the next thing, once we know that there are polymorphs within the lamina propria, is to look for whether or not there is any foci of cryptitis. And what a cryptitis is? A cryptitis is when you see these polymorphs when they invade into the lining epithelium. So either the lining epithelium or within the crypt. So like here we could see a crypt, and this crypt lining epithelium is being infiltrated by the polymorphs. So once you know that the crypts are being infiltrated by the polymorphs, you know that these are the areas which are showing cryptitis. And if you have a foci of cryptitis which is being formed by the polymorphs, you know that the disease is active. Like as we could see here, another crypt which is showing abundant infiltrate by the polymorphs. If they are within the lining epithelium of the crypt, we call them cryptitis, and once they come into the lumen of the crypt where they form an abscess, then we call it as a crypt abscess. So abscess is when you have polymorphs within the lumen, and cryptitis is when you have polymorphs within the lining epithelium. In a normal colon, in a normal rectum, you will not see any foci of cryptitis. So if you are seeing even a single polymorph infiltrating the lining epithelium or infiltrating the colonic gland, that means there is some focal activity there, and that could be because of any bacterial infection or because of any pathogen. So here in this biopsy, as we could see that though the crypt architecture is largely preserved, there are foci of cryptitis and which are also being seen on the lining epithelium. Now, we had also seen that there was an ulcer slough on the surface, and we know that the disease is showing activity. It is showing an active foci of cryptitis. So the next important thing to look for is whether we could make out what is the etiology for this cryptitis. So either it is bacterial or it is related to some protozoal or any other pathogen. So that is what we are going to look for in the surface ulcer slough. So now we could see that within the ulcer slough we are seeing these structures. Now these structures, they are larger than the polymorph. So if you could see a polymorph here, these are much larger than the polymorph, and they are almost about 15, more than 15 to 20 micron in size. So they are much larger than the polymorphs and lymphocytes which are seen in the vicinity. And some of these structures, they have engulfed these reddish structures which are the RBCs. So there is a significant amount of erythrophagocytosis within these structures. And in most of these structures, we are finding a single nuclei. So this is a single nuclei. They've got a cell membrane, and then many of them have got these engulfed RBCs. In addition to these, we are also finding certain of these structures where the nuclei is not evident. So it is not always that you are going to find the nuclei. It is only the section, the area, the tangential sections that are being cut, that the nuclei is not evident. So it is not that the nuclei is not present. It is present. It is only the section that is being taken in such a manner where the nuclei is not evident. But you are seeing nuclei in other beds, and in all those of them, you are also seeing a erythrophagocytosis. So when you see structures like these are actually confirmatory for seeing an amoebic trophozoites. The classic finding of them is most of them will be present in clusters. So it is very rare that you see them a single amoebic trophozoites. Many of these, most of these will come in bunches. That is, there will be many of them, and the reason for this is being the cyst that is being ingested with the infected food. It is containing 4 nuclei. So once the nuclei are released, it just breaks down into the daughter cyst, and from one cyst we get almost 4 daughter cysts. So you get them in clusters, and they're not just one of them, and most of these will be seen within the ulcer slough. Many people are going to do a spatial stain, that is a PA stain, to confirm their presence, but actually the findings on the histology are in itself confirmatory for an amoebic trophozoites. The idea of getting a PA stain done is, if you are not able to identify them properly, and if you are getting a PA stain like we could see here, so in these cases they will become more prominent when you do a PA stain. So like for this case, if you do a PA stain within the ulcer slough, you are able to identify them more beautifully. So they all will be beautiful pass positive, they take up the magenta color, and then you will be able to identify them more beautifully on a PS stain. So PS is not confirmatory. It helps you to identify. If you're not able to pick them up on histology, then getting a PS done will tell you that this is the ulcer slough where you will find them more easily. So then you can do a PS stain, and that is one of the cause for active colitis. So if you are getting a case which is showing active colitis where the crypt architecture is not significantly distorted, so in those cases you should go back and look within the ulcer whether there is any pathogen lying over there, and then you can pinpoint the cause for that pathogen. So then you can tell that the active colitis is because of amoebic trophozoites, and then you can say that this is a case of amoebic colitis. So that was about amoebic colitis. So we'll see more discussions about ulcerative colitis in our next video. Thank you so much. Thank you for your patient hearing.